Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Recently I have changed my laptop, so you might see some changes in the interface. Moreover, the files which I have explained in the previous tutorials are being deleted for some reason. But don't worry, I will recommend for you just upload them to the GitHub if you still have it on your folders. If you don't know how to do it, you can search or wait until I will explain it in the future. But the data that I have again downloaded to my folder here, because this data is going to be used in the future, while the lessons are just the practice that we have done. In this lesson we will explore the first and the most necessary steps towards the data analysis. We will just import the data and view it. So first let's just create a new file. Inside of the Pandas folder we are just creating the file name viewing. Click enter. We'll add a couple of lines and do what? First import the library, pandas library. Import pandas spd, and then click on shift enter. It will import our library here. Then if I want to import the data that I want, let's see where is my data is located. It's located in this data folder. After going one step back here, in order to import it, I will have to type in the df equals to df is the variable that we are going to assign the pandas data frame. Then after the pd alias, we will type in the read csv and the file name here. But before file name, I will go back one time here. If we have a lot of folders, we can just add one type of slash here, and with two dots it will go one folder back again. But we don't need it, because we need to, if I am in this pandas folder, I will have to go one step back here, and then access to this folder here, data, and after the slash we will do what? Look at the file which we are going to import right now, this file. I will paste it here, and then if I need it, I can even put the separation equals to comma and print out the df here. If I click on shift enter, you will see that it will print out the result. The first thing that I want to mention is this separation file. Instead of this, we could even type in the delimiter. This would work again fine without problems. Or instead of this file, CSV file, I have a GitHub account here. You can go to this link here, and from here you could do what? Go to this file. We'll type in click on the rav here, rav button. It will take you to the rav file. After going to here, you could just copy this URL and paste on your route here instead of this one. You are just importing it directly from this URL, and click shift enter. Again, it will print out the result as we like it. And right now I have imported this data from this link, not from my local disk. Okay, the next thing that after importing the data, we already know that these dots are, we have explained what does it mean. It's just your data is in place. The Pandas is very smart. It just shows you the data in a compatible way, in order to avoid the overloading your interface. So if I want to, the very first thing that we do after the importing is to check how many columns and rows are inside of our data. This could be done by typing the df.shape and click shift enter. It will say that our data has 235 rows and 11 columns here. If we want to have a little bit information or the summary about the data structure, we will type in the df.info, like df.info, and click shift enter. Well, this method print out the information about the data frame, including the index, the data types, or the column names, and there even the memory usage here. You could see also we could print the first and the last 5 rows inside of the data, or several rows. How should we do this? If you want to print them out, you could see that this data is large, but if you want to print out the first 5 rows, it will automatically print out these first 5 rows with the help of this head method. By default it prints 5 rows, but if we want to specify how many rows we are going to print, we will just type in the 10 instead of the 5, instead of nothing, and click enter. It will print out the result. If I just delete this one, and instead of the, let's just keep it here, run it, instead of the head I can even type in the tail and click shift enter. It will print out the last 5 rows inside of our table or data frame. I can even type in the 15. It will print the last 15 rows inside of our data. To output the column data type, we will use the dtype. What is the dtype? Let's see that we have a data frame here. This is the data frame. If we just add in the dtype method here, click shift enter, I mean dtypes, not dtype. Dtypes, it will just count all these columns and print out all their data types respectively. You could see this the data type of the country or dependency. Here is the object. Object means strings, while the integer is for the population column. Here you could see these are all the numbers here. That's why it has printed out the integer. The float is for migrants. If we go to the migrants, it might have some decimal numbers inside of these columns here. Okay, also we just can use the df axis. What's the axis? If we type in the df axis here and click shift enter, you will see it will print out 2 elements, this one range index and this index here. This one is for columns, while this one is for rows here, while for series it would only have 1 element here. If I type in the df and the column name, I'll just type in the column name here, this column name, this one, and then type in the axis here, click enter. It will print 1 element here. You will see this just is the attribute which has 2 elements. For data frames it prints out the 2, and for series 1. If I copy this data frame and assign it to the variable, another variable, it will work perfectly. Okay, let's see that I want the second data frame here and copy the first data frame. I could just copy it like that, df copy, and print out the second data frame here. You could see we already have 2 data frames here. The first one has been copied to the second one too, but the first one is also works here. You could see if we want to print out the column names in the data frame, we could just type in df and the name of the column. Let's see that I will do what? Print out the first 5 rows in order to make it simple. And then if I want to type in or print out the column names here, I will just type in the columns and click shift enter. It will print out all these column names here. But I can also do it in another way, like df columns and then values should also work. It will print also the column names. Also I can print them with the help of the list. If I type in the list first, list, and then the data frame with the columns, right, like this one. But inside of this list we should surround them. If I shift enter, yes, it will work without problem. You can see it has listed all of our columns here inside of the data frame. And another way, of course, this is a complex way. If you need, I just make you understand. And of course, a complex way of printing them out. For column, if I type with the whole, I want to print them out with the help of for loop, for call, and in df we have a df data frame. Inside columns, I will print out what the column here. You could see it will print out all these columns with the help of the for loop here. But if I want to include the indexes, if you remember from our Python lessons, we can easily do it by adding one character here and adding what? The enumerate keyword here, enumerate, right? And surround it with round brackets, and then I can type in the call I, and inside of the brackets is the column name, right? Click shift enter. You could see that it will print out the result like this one. Country, the column name 0, 1, 2. It just counts all these columns here. If we want to print out the specific columns, we'll print or access them as an attributes here. Let's see, I have a column. I have lots of columns here. You can see these are my columns, but if I want to access one column here, I can even type it like that, df column name like that, or with the help of the bracket here, the df like this one, column name here, right? But which one is the proper way? The proper way of doing it, of course, with the square brackets here. Let's see that I want to print out this column, right? This column, or this one, population, right? I will just copy, and try to print it with the first way, df and population 2020. If I click on enter or shift enter, it will say that data frame object has no attribute population. It will take it as an attribute because that Python, this Pandas does not understand what do you mean. But if I entail it with these square brackets and quotes here and click shift enter by deleting this dot here, it will print out that column here. You could see this is the same column. Shift enter, starting with this one. You could see this one, population. But can I access it another way? Yes, you can access, but if you don't have a space inside of your columns, usually in practice when we use the columns, we are just assigning them with the help of the underscore like this one. If this is the yearly change and has a space inside of it like this one, this is not the practical way of assigning the columns. Always try to just combine them with this underscore here. But let's check the first way. If I want to enter the data, let's see that I want to enter this data here, data CSV, right? I will try to access it like data equals pd read CSV, then route to /data/ and the name of the file. Then I will type in what? Data, and the column name should come here. Let's first print out the result. Import it Yes, it will print. You could see that the column names are there are lots of column names with one single word, and this word could be accessed or used in a first way like this one, data and the column name. After dot, after period, you could type in like this item, right? We will just type in the item here, and it will print out that column here, but only avoid it using in this way. Just always try to use the column inside of these square brackets, right? Item like this one. It will print out the result. So there is another way of extracting the column which works perfect. For multiple columns, of course, we add square brackets, and once more time, if we want to print out several columns here, area, element, content, element, let's just type all of them here, and I will try to print out all of them. I will have to do what? First, second, and the third here. I will just type them respectively here, and it will entail all of these columns with one square bracket like this one. If I run it, it should print out 3 columns here. The item here not in the index. Let's see where is the item. This is the area, not the column name here. Just delete it and run it here. You could see that it will print out what these column names here. You could again use the tail or head methods here. Apart from pay attention to this column, that while we print the column names, we also replace their position at the same time, which is super useful for you while analyzing the data. You could see if you are just have no time by just removing them or assigning them differently with the help of functions, you could even in easy way can just type them respectively by calling the data frame and assign your data frame like this one and save it with the help of 2CSV function.